we're going to be checking out 5 ways British and American bathrooms are very different. I'm interested to check this out, see what we got, check out why our bathrooms are different to your bathrooms. So yeah, let's jump into this and see what we got with this, man.
And I've also aged 10 years in that time, and it shows my joints aren't what they were. So getting in and out of the bath was a bloody nightmare.
Fair enough. I just kind of just
Hello,
rolled out.
I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to cleanliness.
Bathroom.
And one place that is absolutely synonymous with cleanliness, try saying that after 4 whiskeys. I mean, I just did, but... is the bathroom. And believe it or not, I've not yet, in my 4.5 years of doing a YouTube channel on the differences between Britain and America, talked about the differences between British and American bathrooms. So...
is there even 5 differences? Well, if there was, it would be making a video, so of course there is, but yeah, other than like the taps being hot and cold, but we've changed ours. We just have 1 tap now. Other than that, I can't really think of anything.
That is what I'm going to do today. So, as my bathwater gets deeper than the Marianas Trench, here are 5 ways in which British and American bathrooms are so very, very different.
Right, let's see. The tap. Oh, of course.
Yes. Any Americans that have spent any time in Britain and vice versa will know that the way in which taps are presented is somewhat different, or at least can be. So,
see, this isn't the case anymore. It's not the case. Most UK homes have 1 tap for hot and cold. I don't know why we ever had to. Like, to be fair, in some places that are like old buildings, you would still get that, but
having grown up in Britain, I was so very used to the taps being divided, not politically, that would be madness, but in terms of hot and cold.
Dumb.
So washing your hands in a British sink goes one of 2 ways. Either you could just fill up the entire sink with both hot and cold water until it is warm and wash it that way with soap. Extra work, granted, but it does.
Oh, I never thought about doing it that. I never thought about doing it that way. Filling up the sink, then put your hand in the sink. Oh, what I used to do, I used to put both on, right? And then the hot will be boiling. So I used to just do this. Like just... Look, it's a lot harder in the chair, right? It's a lot... I'm not normally sat down doing it, but you like to... basically, you know what I'm saying? You get a bit of the hot, you get a bit of the cold, and then boom, right? I was a kid, right? I was a kid.
It does save on water usage. There is that. Or you could be really lazy, switch on the hot tap, do this, realise that it burns you, switch on the cold tap to cool it down, realises that that stings in a different way, and give up halfway through and suffer the consequences of poor hygiene. Now,
why did we ever have 2 taps, bro? Like, who was the person that thought of that? Oh, let's make a sink. Yeah, man, I got a great idea. Let's have 1 hot tap and 1 cold tap. The hot being really boiling and the cold being really cold. Sick.
Now, I should mention that that is not entirely nationwide. There will be some bathrooms that unite the taps. And I was very happy to find after moving to the United States that it's not just commonplace in the US for that unification to happen. This is all sounding very political, needlessly so. But it's universal in the United States to have 1 central tap, or as it's often known in the United States, a faucet. And this alleviated so many problems with washing hands. Now, I will find that I use far more water in doing so now. So again, there is that kind of give and take, but pound for pound, I'd prefer not to burn my hand off.
Wait, why would you use more water having 1 tap? Why would that be? Because with 2 taps at the same time is more than 1 tap. But, and then again, we don't use them. Like in my house, there's only 1 tap. There's not double taps. In every house I've lived in, it's only been 1 tap. It's very... I would say it's rare to find 2 taps now in the UK.
Taps in Britain go back to the fact that the taps and the plumbing is just really old, and you couldn't sort of mix the hot and the cold water back in the day, and it sort of stayed that way because of a lot of our buildings don't get demolished like they do in the United States, so they just keep that same old plumbing system. I mean, that's the watered down version of the explanation.
Is that why?
See what I did there? Yeah. Anyway, speaking of water, that brings us on to our next entry.
Right, next, what is this? The toilet.
Whether you call it the toilet, the commode, the John, the loo, or the porcelain god, we can all agree that the toilet is one of the greatest inventions of all time behind toilet paper, which I've just realised came after, as it always does.
Yo, when you think about it that way, right? The toilet is one of the greatest inventions of all time. Because where are you going to take your dump?
But when we are talking about Britain and America, there is one chief difference between how toilets are in those two countries. And it all comes down to one thing: the water level. So in Britain, you practically need binoculars just to make out the water level down below. Although if you do that, you run the risk of enhancing the size of other things. And the chief problem with it being so low, of course, is splashback. You know, and you don't want that on a cold Monday morning, which again is why I was relieved to move to the United States, where the water level is really high. So when you come to do one, it gets lost in the pond.
Alright. I've never experienced splashback because I'm pretty sure most people do what I do, right? If you don't, it's weird. I always put tissue paper. Oh wait, this is gonna be weird for you Americans. When I'm going for a dump, I'll always put tissue paper at the bottom of the toilet. So like, what I'll do, this is my routine. I can't believe I'm talking about my dumping routine. I'm too far in there. I get the tissue, I wipe the seat, I chuck it in the toilet. I take my dump. You know what I'm saying?
It gets lost in the pond. The level is really morning, which again is why I was relieved to move to the United States, where the water level is really high. So when you
I see the water level here. I'd say UK water level is just like at this. So yeah, it's quite a bit more, but surely this was still a splashback. And you can't block this with toilet paper. So like,
come to do one, it gets lost in the pond. I'm so sorry. Just flush all of that out of your memory as we pull the switch on entry number 3. That's
how can the light be different? You know what? Go ahead.
Right, both countries use bathroom lights differently, but before you get the idea that Britain is still somehow using, I don't know, the candle, it's not the light source itself.
Yeah. In our bathroom, we got lanterns.
But the mechanism by which we light it. In the United States, of course, this is almost always done using the light switch, and while that is also the case in a lot of UK homes and hotels and the like, you will find the odd, usually distinctly odd, bathroom in Britain where that very mode is essentially just a piece of string.
Yeah.
You pull until it clicks. This can be very confusing for a lot of people walking in and not having a clue what that does. And to this day, I'm not entirely sure why it exists, but you know, in addition to a dripping tap and a comfortable bathtub, I'm tempted to believe that it was designed by a cat. And speaking of bathtubs, that brings us on to our final...
Yeah, you know what? In a lot of homes, I have seen the string. Why we have that? I have no clue. I have no clue at all. But more newer houses now don't have that. They just have lights.
All 2 entries.
Like light switches.
I think it was the actor Burt Reynolds who said the most underrated thing in life is a nice hot bath. And I agree with Sir Burt. Was he a
It's
Sir?
nice.
He wasn't even British. He was American. He would...
Listen, a nice... I never have baths because it's so much hassle to do and stuff, right? It takes quite a bit, like a long time. Well, not that long, but you know what I mean. I'm too lazy, right? But when I do have a bath and you get in the bath, oh, it is so relaxing, man. Oh, I want a bath now.
He was correct. Baths are amazing. And one thing I noticed after moving to the United States is that the surface of the bathtub is actually at the same level as the ground outside of it. That's quite novel to a British person because where I'm from, the bathtub is raised. So when I was in England visiting this past May, I'd forgotten this fact after 10 years of being away. And I've also aged 10 years in that time, and it shows. My joints aren't what they were, so getting in and out of the bath was a bloody nightmare, and I'm not afraid to admit it on live YouTube. So
what? Your guy's bath is in the ground?
Anybody from the United States who's visiting Britain that likes to have baths, keep that in mind. You may need to take a stepladder with you. Slight exaggeration. And speaking of baths and Americans that
Wait, show me the American bath. Wait, so like you got the floor. So let's say this is the level of the floor. Let's say this is the level of the floor. Our bath will be like that. On top of the floor, right? More like that, right? Is your bath like in the ground? So it's like the same level. So you could just like walk and just fall in. Hey, that's like more cozy. I thought that was like what only rich people have. Like baths in the ground.
To have them, that brings us on to our final entry. So it turns out that Burt Reynolds may
bath.
well have been an anomaly when it comes to Americans that like to take baths. The truth is, it's not as big a pastime in America as it is in Britain. In Britain, we absolutely love to take hot baths.
Right.
And this is evidenced by the fact that there is one thing and one thing alone that America doesn't do bigger, and that is the bathtub. British baths just give you so much more room. You don't have to crunch on...
Wait. America. This is a normal British bath, right? Don't tell me yours is smaller than this. Because, yeah, it's a decent size, but any smaller than that, I would not fit. And I'm not even that big.
Knees up, which is in fact how I ruined my joints. Because American baths are smaller. Not only are they smaller, but they don't recline as much, usually. I mean, you can buy specialist baths that do that, but for the most part, the standard bathtub in America has that back that's straight up, so you just have to sit there. And if you're a tall man like me, 6'1", then there aren't many easy options for that. You just have to suck it up and take it. One of the reasons is that, firstly, Americans just don't value bath taking as much as they do over showers, which is...
Wait, I want to see a picture of a bath. Yo, listen, do me a favor. Do me a favor, because I feel like you guys will have different baths. If you're from America... Go to my Instagram. It's right there. L3WG_. Send me a message and a picture of your bath. I need to see it. I need to see it. I need to see a bunch of them so I can see like the average, you know what I mean? Like what you guys have.
About to say fair enough, but I don't think it is. You don't know what you're missing out on. They listen to Bert. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's dead, so he's not here to speak for himself. But I'm speaking on his behalf. Bathtubs are amazing, and hot baths in them are even better. But the other thing that it comes down to, I'm assured, is in the sort of real estate market. You know, real estate agents, or whatever you call them here, realtors, want to ensure that there's more floor space in the property that is being sold. So as standard, baths don't come bigger, and if you want them bigger, that's going to be a very big hefty expense on your budget. Anybody who's been to Restoration Hardware will know.
I can't imagine a bath smaller than ours. I'd say that, like, I'd say even though it's a decent size, it's the smallest you can go. I don't know. Yeah, weird, man.
That. So those were 5 ways that British and American bathrooms are so very different. The time has come to pull the plug on this episode.
Really interesting video about our bathrooms and your bathrooms. Make sure you go to my Instagram and show me yours, because I'm really interested to see them. Another great video. Enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. If you did, make sure you give a thumbs up, subscribe for more content. I'm live every single day on twitch.tv/L3WG if you guys want to check that out. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.